Bang! The chapel doors exploded inward with such violence that Naima jumped, her cleaning cloth falling from her hands. A woman stood in the doorway, backlit by the afternoon sun, her silhouette radiating fury and entitlement in equal measure. Mrs. Yoon. Naima recognized her instantly from that day weeks ago when she'd come to make her donation to Uncle Solomon. But today, there was nothing polite or composed about her. Today, she looked like a woman on the edge of violence. Naima Williams! Mrs. Yoon's voice echoed through the sanctuary like a thunderclap, sharp and commanding and full of rage. Naima stood frozen, her heart hammering against her ribs. She was wiping down each chair with a damp cloth, her movements automatic, her mind elsewhere. 2 days had passed since the fight with Minji. 2 days since Taehyung had kissed her. 2 days since her world had tilted so far off its axis she didn't know which way was up anymore. Her face still bore the evidence of the fight. A fading bruise on her left cheekbone, a split lip that was healing but still tender when she talked or smiled. Not that she'd had much reason to smile lately. Mrs. Yoon stormed down the center aisle, her expensive heels clicking sharply against the stone floor. She wore a designer coat that probably cost more than the chapel's monthly rent. Her hair perfectly styled, her makeup immaculate, but her face was twisted with maternal fury. "Uncle," Naima started to call out, but Uncle Solomon was already rushing from his office, alarmed by the commotion. "Mrs. Yoon!" He tried to interject himself between the woman and his niece, his hands raised in a placating gesture. "Please, what's wrong? What's happened?" Mrs. Yoon ignored him completely, her eyes locked on Naima with laser focus. "What gave you the right?" she hissed, closing the distance between them until she was barely 3 feet away. "What gave you the right to lay your hands on my daughter?" Naima's mouth went dry. Her mind raced. Minji. The fight. Oh God. Uncle Solomon's face contorted with confusion. What? There must be some mistake. Naima would never what?" Mrs. Yoon spun on him, her voice rising to a near scream. "Never attack someone? Never fight like a common street thug? Look at her face, Pastor. Look at the bruises. Do you think those came from prayer?" Uncle Solomon's eyes darted to Naima's face, really looked at the bruise, the split lip, and something shifted in his expression. "Naima." His voice was quiet, uncertain. "Yesterday, when you came home, you said you fell." Naima couldn't speak. Her throat had closed up completely. Mrs. Yoon let out a harsh, bitter laugh. "Fell. Of course that's what she told you." She turned back to Naima, her eyes glittering with cold fury. "My daughter came home yesterday, with bruises on her face, a black eye, scratches on her arms. And you know what she told me? That this girl," she gestured at Naima with contempt, "attacked her at the university, in front of everyone. That's not..." Naima finally found her voice, but it came out weak, defensive. "She started it. She's been bullying me for weeks. She said terrible things. I don't care what she said." Mrs. Yoon's voice cracked like a whip. "You don't lay hands on people, especially not people from families like ours." Uncle Solomon stepped forward, his pastoral instincts overriding his confusion. "Mrs. Yoon, please, let's discuss this calmly. I'm sure there's been a misunderstanding. Naima is a good girl. She was raised in the church. Violence is against everything we believe in, everything I've taught her. Is it against your beliefs to covet what doesn't belong to you?" Mrs. Yoon's voice dropped to something more dangerous, more calculated. "To chase after men who are already spoken for?" The shift in topic was so sudden that Uncle Solomon blinked, completely lost. What?" Mrs. Yoon's eyes remained fixed on Naima. "Tell him, Naima. Tell your uncle what this is really about." Naima's heart stopped. No. "Mrs. Yoon, I don't understand what you're implying," Uncle Solomon said, his voice taking on that firm pastoral authority he used when counseling troubled congregants. "If you have an accusation to make, please speak plainly." Mrs. Yoon finally turned to face him fully, her expression shifting to something almost pitying. "Pastor Solomon, has your niece told you about the bruises on her face? About how she really got them?" Uncle Solomon's eyes darted to Naima again. She said she fell. Naima? His voice rose slightly, seeking confirmation. Tell Mrs. Yoon. You fell, didn't you? Naima opened her mouth, closed it. No sound came out. The silence stretched, damning. Uncle Solomon's face began to change. Your confusion giving way to hurt, hurt giving way to dawning realization. Mrs. Yoon smiled, but there was no warmth in it. She didn't fall, Pastor. She fought with my daughter. At the university, in front of hundreds of students, like animals in the street. She took a step closer to Uncle Solomon, her voice dropping to something more intimate, more threatening. And do you know why they fought? Uncle Solomon shook his head slowly, his eyes never leaving Naima's face, silently begging her to contradict this woman, to tell him it was all a lie. Mrs. Yoon's next words fell like bombs in the quiet sanctuary. Because your innocent little church girl has been chasing after Kang Ji-woo. My daughter's intended. A man from a world your niece has no business being in. The name hung in the air like smoke. Kang Ji-woo. Uncle Solomon's face went through a dozen emotions in rapid succession. Confusion, shock, recognition. He'd heard that name before, whispered in fear by people in the neighborhood. Denial, and finally, horrified understanding. Kang, he whispered, the name barely making it past his lips. The Gangnam? Yes, Mrs. Yoon's voice, was satisfied now, enjoying his horror. The Gangnam crime lord, the Mafia boss, that Kang Ji-woo, the man your precious niece has been sneaking out to see in the middle of the night. The man she's been throwing herself at like a common prostitute. That's not true. Naima finally found her voice, but it came out strangled, desperate. I didn't. Then why did you fight my daughter? Mrs. Yoon turned on her like a snake striking. Why did you attack her when she confronted you about staying away from him? Naima's mouth opened and closed uselessly. Uncle Solomon was staring at her with an expression she'd never seen before. Complete and utter betrayal. Naima. His voice was barely above a whisper. Tell me it's not true. Tell me you haven't been, that you're not involved with... He couldn't even finish the sentence. Mrs. Yoon stepped back, her point made, her victory secured. She smoothed down her expensive coat with one hand, her composure returning now that she'd delivered her message. I came here as a courtesy, Pastor Solomon, because we've had a mutually beneficial business arrangement, because I respected you. Her voice hardened. But that respect ends if your niece can't stay in her lane. She turned to face Naima directly, her eyes cold and merciless. Kang Ji-woo is meant for my daughter. Their families have had an understanding since they were children. A marriage between the Kang and Yoon families would unite two of the most powerful operations in Seoul, Gangnam and Gangbuk, drugs and money laundering, an empire that would be unstoppable. She took a step closer to Naima, her voice dropping to a deadly whisper. You are a nobody, an illegal immigrant playing dress-up in church clothes, a pastor's niece with delusions of grandeur. Whatever you think is happening between you and Ji-woo, it's not real, it's a fantasy. He's using you, and when he's done, he'll discard you like garbage. Each word was a knife, precise and cruel. Stay away from that world you're craving so desperately to taste. Stay away from my daughter. And stay away from Kang Ji-woo. He belongs to Minji. He always has. Mrs. Yoon turned on her heel and walked toward the exit, her heels clicking against the stone floor with authoritative finality. At the doorway, she paused, looked back at Uncle Solomon. Control your niece, Pastor, or I'll do it for you, and you won't like my methods. Then she was gone, the chapel doors closing behind her with a heavy thud that echoed through the sanctuary like a judge's gavel. Silence descended, thick, suffocating, terrible. Naima stood frozen in the center aisle, her hands trembling at her sides, her heart pounding so hard she thought it might burst from her chest. Uncle Solomon hadn't moved. He stood near the front pew, his back to her, his shoulders rigid, his head bowed. The seconds stretched into minutes. Finally, Without turning around, Uncle Solomon spoke. His voice was so quiet Naima had to strain to hear it. Who is Kang Ji-woo? Wait, stop, hold everything. Did Mrs. Yoon just say Ji-woo is meant for her daughter? Did she just reveal that Min-ji, the bully who's been tormenting Naima, is the daughter of the woman laundering money through Uncle Solomon's chapel? Did Uncle Solomon just find out about Ji-woo? Is this a family arrangement? Are Ji-woo and Min-ji supposed to be married? Drop a comment right now. What time is it where you are? Because we're all going through this together. Did you know Min-ji's mother was the money launderer? Did you see that connection coming? Hit that subscribe button because this is about to get messy. Turn on all notifications because part 5 is going to explode. Now let's get back to this disaster. The silence in the chapel was oppressive, crushing. Uncle Solomon still hadn't turned around. He stood with his back to Naima, his shoulders tense, his hands clenched at his sides. Who is Kang Ji-woo? He repeated, his voice still quiet but carrying an edge now, something harder, more demanding. Naima's throat felt like it was closing. She tried to swallow, tried to force words out, but nothing came. Answer me, Naima. Still nothing. Uncle Solomon turned around slowly. His face was a mask of pain and anger and betrayal, emotions she'd never seen him direct at her before. Answer me. His voice cracked like thunder, echoing off the chapel walls. Naima flinched, taking an involuntary step backward. Who is Kang Ji-woo? He's... Her voice came out barely above a whisper. He's nobody. Nobody? Uncle Solomon's bitter laugh was harsh, foreign. Don't lie to me. Not after everything. If he's nobody, then why are you so nervous? Why did you turn away from me? Why did that woman come into my chapel and threaten you over him? Naima's hands twisted together, her eyes dropping to the floor. I can't explain. You can or you won't. Uncle Solomon took a step toward her. Do you have any idea who that man is? What he does? The people he's hurt? The lives he's destroyed? It's not like that. Then what is it like, Naima? Tell me. His voice rose again, desperation mixing with anger. Tell me what's going on. Tell me why Mrs. Yoon knows things about my own niece that I don't. Tell me why you're coming home with bruises and lies. Something inside Naima snapped. All the pain, all the shame, all the anger she'd been holding in for weeks. It exploded outward. You want to talk about lies, Uncle? Her voice rose to match his, sharp and cutting. You want to talk about secrets and betrayal? Uncle Solomon's face went pale. Don't you dare turn this around on me. Why not? Naima's voice cracked, but she pushed forward, years of suppressed frustration pouring out. You've been lying to me since I got to Seoul, taking dirty money, laundering cash for criminals through God's house. She gestured wildly at the chapel around them. You stand in that pulpit every Sunday preaching about righteousness and truth and living a holy life. And you're taking blood money. Money earned from drugs and crime and suffering. Money from people like Mrs. Yoon who destroy lives for profit. I did that for you. Uncle Solomon's voice was raw, breaking. For your education, for your future. When you lost that scholarship, I had no choice. There's always a choice. Naima was crying now, tears streaming down her face. You taught me that. You said we always have a choice between right and wrong, between God and sin, between light and darkness. I was trying to save you, and maybe I'm trying to save myself. Naima's voice broke completely. Maybe Ji-woo came into my life because I had no other options. Maybe I'm involved with him because I'm desperate and alone, and you were too busy with your own compromises to see me drowning. The words hung between them like a chasm. Uncle Solomon's face crumbled, his anger giving way to pain. Naima. No. She shook her head violently. You don't get to lecture me about sin when your hands are just as dirty as mine. You don't get to be the holy pastor when you're a hypocrite who sold his integrity for tuition money. That's not fair. Fair? Naima let out a harsh, broken laugh. You want to talk about fair? I came to Seoul to honor my mother's memory, to help you, to be good. And look at us now. Look at what we've both become. She walked toward the chapel doors, needing to escape, needing air, needing anything but this confrontation. "Where are you going?" Uncle Solomon called after her, his voice desperate now. "We're not finished." "Yes, we are." Naima stopped at the doors, but didn't turn around. "We've been finished since the moment you took Mrs. Yoon's first payment. Since the moment you chose money over morals." Her voice dropped to something quieter, more broken. "You can't save me, Uncle. You couldn't even save yourself." She pushed through the doors and left him standing alone in the sanctuary, two sinners in a holy place, both drowning in consequences of their own making. The office was all dark wood and leather, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Seoul's glittering skyline. Ji-woo sat behind his massive desk, reviewing financial reports for one of their legitimate businesses, a nightclub in Itaewon that laundered money so efficiently it made more profit from crime than actual customers. He was alone. Taehyung had reported that Naima was fine after the university incident, but something in his second-in-command's voice had been off, strained. Ji-woo had let it go. He had bigger problems, like the persistent feeling he couldn't shake since that night, the night he'd sent her away. A knock at the door interrupted his thoughts. "Come in." The door opened to reveal Mrs. Yoon, dressed in her expensive armor of designer clothes and cold authority. Ji-woo's expression didn't change, but something hardened in his eyes. "Mrs. Yoon, I don't recall having an appointment with you." "I don't need an appointment." She walked in uninvited, settling into the chair across from his desk with the confidence of someone who believed she had leverage. "We're practically family. We're business associates." Ji-woo's voice was ice. "There's a difference." Mrs. Yoon smiled thinly. "For now, perhaps. But soon, if you've come to discuss that ridiculous marriage arrangement again, you're wasting your time." He didn't even look up from his reports. "I've told you before, I'm not interested in your daughter." "Even after someone laid hands on her?" Mrs. Yoon's voice sharpened. "Even after she was attacked at her own university?" Now Ji-woo looked up, his dark eyes assessing. "Attacked? Yesterday. Some girl beat her badly enough to leave bruises." Mrs. Yoon leaned forward. "I thought you'd want to know. Minji is devastated. She's been waiting for you for years. And now, Minji can wait until she turns to dust." Ji-woo set down his pen with deliberate precision. "It won't change my answer." Mrs. Yoon's composure cracked slightly. "Ji-woo, be reasonable. A union between the Kang and Yoon families would benefit us both. My family controls the money laundering operations in Gangbuk, churches, small businesses, community centers. Your family controls Gangnam, the drugs, the weapons, the nightclubs." She gestured expansively, as if painting a picture of their potential empire. "Together, we'd be unstoppable. The authorities couldn't touch us. The other families wouldn't dare challenge us. Seoul would be ours." "Seoul is already mine." Ji-woo's voice was flat, bored. "I don't need a marriage to secure what I already have. But think of the legacy. I'm thinking of my sanity." He stood, walking to the window, hands in his pockets. A clear dismissal. "Tell Minji to stop waiting. Tell her to find someone else. Tell her whatever you need to tell her. But stop coming to me with this fantasy." Mrs. Yoon stood as well, her voice taking on a sharper edge. "Is this about that African girl? The pastor's niece?" The temperature in the room dropped 10 degrees. Ji-woo turned slowly, his expression deadly calm. "Careful. Minji told me everything." Mrs. Yoon pressed on, either brave or foolish. "About how you kissed some scholarship student in front of the entire university. This has nothing to do with her." "Then prove that kiss meant nothing." Mrs. Yoon played her final card, voice sharp and manipulative. "If that random girl truly means nothing to you, if you're not attached, then come to the university tomorrow. Minji will show you who attacked her. Deal with this girl. Show everyone that you stand with our family, that you care about Minji's reputation, that the kiss was meaningless." Ji-woo leaned back in his chair, studying Mrs. Yoon with those cold, calculating eyes. She was trying to manipulate him, using his public. Display with Naima as leverage to force him into proving something. A long silence stretched between them. Finally, he spoke, his voice flat and emotionless. Fine, I'll do it, just this once. Mrs. Yoon's face lit up with triumph. Really? You'll... Just this once, Ji-woo interrupted, his voice dropping to something harder, colder, more dangerous. And let me be very clear, Mrs. Yoon. After this, whatever mess your daughter finds herself in, whatever drama she creates, whatever problems she has, you never involve me again. Understand? But Ji-woo, if this means you're reconsidering the arrangement, it means nothing. His voice was final, deadly. It means I'm dealing with the situation once to shut you up, and then I'm done. Your daughter is not my responsibility. She never was. She never will be. This is the last time you use me for her problems. He stood, buttoning his suit jacket with sharp, precise movements. When and where? Mrs. Yoon, sensing she shouldn't push her luck, quickly provided the details. Tomorrow, Seoul National University cafeteria. Lunch hour, it's always packed then. Min-ji will be there. She'll point out the girl who attacked her, and you can handle it. Fine. Ji-woo's voice was dismissive, bored. Now get out. Mrs. Yoon stood, gathering her expensive handbag, barely able to contain her satisfaction. Thank you, Ji-woo. This will show everyone that Min-ji... It shows nothing, he repeated coldly. Except that after tomorrow, you and your daughter are no longer my concern. Ever. Leave. After she left, Ji-woo stood alone in his office, hands in his pockets, staring out at the Seoul skyline. His face remained expressionless, but his jaw was tight. He'd agreed to go to the university tomorrow, to let Min-ji point out whoever attacked her, to handle it and prove the kiss meant nothing. Just because he didn't want her to think or suspect Naima might mean more to him. Mrs. Yoon hadn't mentioned who the attacker was, hadn't given a name, hadn't described her. She definitely knew what she was doing. Naima stood in the small kitchen of the apartment above the chapel, staring at nothing. After yesterday's confrontation with Uncle Solomon, they'd existed in a horrible, tense silence. He tried to talk to her this morning over breakfast, but she'd left without eating. Had gone to the chapel and cleaned compulsively for hours, trying to scrub away the guilt that coated her like oil. She'd avoided looking at the spot where Mrs. Yoon had stood, where Uncle Solomon had learned the truth, where everything had finally, catastrophically fallen apart. Now it was late afternoon. The sun was beginning its descent, casting long shadows across the chapel grounds. Uncle Solomon was out doing home visits to elderly congregants. She was alone, which is why the sound of a car engine outside made her heart stop. She moved to the window, peered out carefully. A black BMW sat parked on the street, sleek, expensive, completely out of place in this modest neighborhood. And leaning against it, arms crossed, looking up at her window like he'd known exactly where to find her, was Taehyung. No. Naima's heart hammered against her ribs. She stepped back from the window as if burned. He couldn't be here. Not at the chapel, not where Uncle Solomon could see. But even as the thought formed, she was moving, rushing down the stairs, out the side door, her feet carrying her forward before her mind could catch up. She burst out onto the street, the cool evening air hitting her face. "What are you doing here?" The words came out harsh, panicked. Taehyung straightened from his casual lean against the car. He'd removed his sunglasses, and his dark eyes studied her with an intensity that made her want to look away. "I wanted to see you." "Did Ji-woo send you?" She looked around frantically, paranoid that neighbors were watching, that Uncle Solomon would appear, that this would somehow make everything worse. "Is he spying on me now? Tracking me?" "Ji-woo didn't send me." Taehyung's voice was quiet, steady. "I came on my own." "You can't be here." Naima's voice rose, desperation creeping in. "This is my uncle's chapel. If he sees you, if anyone sees you, then let's talk quickly." He took a step toward her. I need to explain. There's nothing to explain. She backed up, maintaining the distance between them. There's nothing to talk about. You need to leave. Now. Naima. I mean it. She wrapped her arms around herself, a defensive gesture. Whatever you think you're doing, whatever Ji-woo told you to, this has nothing to do with Ji-woo. Taehyung's voice was firm now, cutting through her panic. This is about what happened. In the car. The kiss. The word hung between them like smoke. Naima's face flushed with heat. That was a mistake from you, wasn't it? Was it? Yes. She forced the word out, made herself look at him. It was a mistake. You were being kind. I was vulnerable. It didn't mean anything. It meant something to me. The simple statement, delivered with such quiet conviction, stopped her cold. Taehyung took another step closer. She didn't back away this time. Naima, I know the timing is terrible. I know this is the worst possible moment. I know I'm breaking every rule I've ever lived by. His voice was low, intense. But I need you to know something. Don't. She shook her head, tears pricking her eyes. Please don't say whatever you're about to say. Why not? Because it'll make everything more complicated. Her voice cracked. Because my life is already falling apart. Because I can't handle one more thing right now. What if the thing I'm about to say could help? She let out a broken laugh. Nothing helps. Don't you see that? Everything you and Ji-woo touches turns to destruction. Uncle Solomon won't look at me. The university thinks I'm a criminal's whore. Minji's. Mother threatened me in a church. And Ji-woo? Her voice broke completely on his name. Ji-woo doesn't even want me. He looked at me and was disgusted. So whatever you think you feel, whatever you think this is, I'm in love with you. The words fell between them like stones in still water. Naima stared at him, certain she'd misheard. What? I'm in love with you, Naima. Taehyung's voice was steady. Sure. Even as his eyes showed the terror of the confession. I have been since that first night I drove you home. Since you cried in my car and asked me why Ji-woo wanted you. Since you looked at me like I was the first person who'd ever really seen you. No. She shook her head violently. No, you're not. You can't be. You're Ji-woo's. I know what I am. His voice was raw now, the control cracking. I know I'm betraying him. I know I'm crossing a line that can't be uncrossed. I know loving you is the most dangerous thing I've ever done. He moved closer. And this time, when he reached for her, she didn't pull away. His hands cupped her face gently. So different from Ji-woo's possessive grip. So different from anything she'd expected. But I can't watch you destroy yourself for someone who doesn't know how to love you back. I can't watch you break apart piece by piece while Ji-woo plays his games. I can't... Naima! Uncle Solomon's voice cut through the moment like a knife. They jumped apart. Naima stumbling backward, Taehyung's hands dropping to his sides. Uncle Solomon stood at the chapel entrance, his face a mixture of shock, anger, and something that looked like his worst fears confirmed. Uncle, I can explain, Naima started, but Taehyung was already moving toward his car. I should go, he said quietly, opening the driver's door. Taehyung... He looked at her one more time, his eyes holding hers across the distance. Then he was in the car, the engine starting, the vehicle pulling away from the curb with smooth precision. Naima stood on the sidewalk, watching him disappear down the street, Uncle Solomon's angry breathing behind her, the only sound. Inside, Uncle Solomon said, his voice barely controlled. Now. Naima turned slowly to face him. His face was red, his eyes wide, his entire body trembling with what looked like a mixture of rage and terror. Uncle, inside. Now. She walked toward him, each step feeling like walking toward her own execution. But before she reached the chapel doors, before he could start whatever lecture or punishment he'd been preparing, Naima stopped and looked up at him and said the words that would change everything. What if I'm in love with someone from that world? Uncle Solomon froze. What? What if someone from a different world than ours makes my heart crumble? Her voice was quiet but steady. What if I can't help it? What if I've tried to fight it and pray it away and be the good girl you want me to be. But I can't. Uncle Solomon's face went through several emotions rapidly. Sweet Mary, Mother of God. He clutched at his chest dramatically, made the sign of the cross 3 times in rapid succession. Please tell me you're not saying what I think you're saying. I'm saying that maybe I've fallen for someone you wouldn't approve of. Someone dangerous. Someone wrong. Uncle Solomon looked up at the sky, as if appealing directly to heaven. Lord, give me strength. Give me patience. He made the sign of the cross again, pressed his palm to his forehead. Naima, please. Please tell me you haven't. Tell me you're still pure. Tell me you haven't sinned with these men. Have you sinned, Uncle? The question stopped his dramatics cold. What? Naima looked at him steadily, tears in her eyes, but her voice firm. Have you sinned? With Mrs. Yoon's money? With your compromises? With your lies? Uncle Solomon's mouth opened and closed. If you've sinned, Uncle, then so have I. If you haven't, then I haven't as well. We're both drowning in our choices. The only difference is, you're pretending you're still swimming. She walked past him into the chapel, leaving him standing outside, his hands raised to heaven in a gesture that was half prayer, half surrender. Lord, he muttered to the darkening sky, this child will be the death of me. Or I'll be the death of her. Or we'll both die together in our sins. He made the sign of the cross one more time, then followed her inside. The cafeteria was packed with the usual lunch crowd, students clustered around tables, the noise level rising with conversations in Korean, English, Chinese, and various other languages that reflected the university's international population. Naima sat alone at a corner table, picking at a bibimbap she had no appetite for. 3 days since Mrs. Yoon's visit to the chapel, and 2 days since Taehyung's confession. 1 day of tense, painful silence with Uncle Solomon that had finally broken over breakfast when he'd awkwardly tried to ask if she needed to talk to a woman about women things, and she'd actually laughed for the first time in weeks. But the laughter had been brief. The weight pressing down on her hadn't lifted. She was exhausted, bone-deep, tired in a way that sleep couldn't fix. The students still whispered about her, but something had shifted. The whispers were quieter now, more cautious. The phones that had recorded her constantly were less obvious. Word had spread about the fight with Minji. And apparently, standing up to Seoul's most notorious bully and surviving earned a strange kind of respect. Or at least, made people think twice about crossing her. Not that it mattered. Naima still sat alone, still felt the weight of hundreds of eyes, still felt like an outsider in every space she occupied. She was stirring her rice aimlessly when a tray appeared across from her, settling on the table with a soft clatter. Naima looked up, ready to tell whoever it was that the seat was taken, a lie, but a protective one, and found herself staring at a friendly face, an African-American girl, beautiful, with warm brown skin, lighter than Naima's deep chocolate tone. Her natural hair styled in gorgeous shoulder-length twists that framed her face perfectly. She wore an oversized Howard University hoodie, jeans, and a bright smile that seemed genuine. Mind if I sit? The girl asked in English. Her American accent, a sharp but welcome contrast to the Korean and British English Naima had been drowning in for months. Naima blinked, surprised. Yes. She stumbled over her words. You can sit. The girl dropped into the chair with casual ease, immediately opening her kimchi jjigae and taking a big spoonful. Thanks, I'm Keisha, exchange student from DC, Howard University. Naima? She managed a small smile. From, let me guess. Keisha grinned. Ghana? Ghana. Thought so. I'm good with accents. Keisha took another bite, then looked at Naima with frank curiosity. So, you're the girl who beat the shit out of Minji, huh? Naima nearly choked on her water. What? Girl, don't play modest. Keisha laughed. That video's been circulating for days. You slapped her, she slapped back, Then y'all went at it like it was a street fight in Baltimore. It was epic. There's a video? Multiple videos, from like 15 different angles. Keisha pulled out her phone, started scrolling. Here, this one's the best quality. See? Right there. Boom. That slap connected so hard people in China probably heard it. Naima stared at the phone screen in horror as she watched herself. Watched the moment her hand connected with Minji's face. Watched them grapple and fight. Watched the crowd circle them like spectators at a gladiator match. "Oh my God," she whispered. "Right?" Keisha pocketed her phone. "That was amazing. I've been waiting for someone to take that girl down a peg since I got here 6 months ago. She's the worst. Rich, entitled, thinks she owns this campus because her family has money." Keisha leaned forward conspiratorially. "Between you and me, I'm surprised someone didn't punch her way sooner. She's been bullying international students since orientation. Made this girl from Bangladesh cry so hard she transferred schools. Got a Chinese exchange student's visa revoked somehow. She's vicious. She said terrible things." Naima heard herself say, "About me, about my faith, about everything." "I bet she did." Keisha's expression softened with understanding. "She's good at finding what hurts and pressing on it. But you know what? You fought back. You didn't just take it. That takes courage." The simple statement, delivered without judgment or mockery, made Naima's throat tighten. "It didn't feel like courage," she admitted quietly. "It felt like breaking. Like I'd finally had enough and just snapped. Sometimes that's what courage looks like." Keisha shrugged. "Everybody's got a breaking point. Yours just happened to involve a public smackdown." For the first time in what felt like forever, Naima actually laughed. A real laugh, not bitter or broken, just genuine amusement at the absurdity of it all. Keisha grinned. "There we go. You've got a pretty smile. You should use it more." They ate in comfortable silence for a few moments, and Naima felt something she hadn't felt since arriving in Seoul: normal. Like she was just a college student having lunch with a friend. Not the Mafia's plaything, not the pastor's disappointment, not the campus scandal. Just Naima. "So," Keisha said casually, dipping her spoon back into her stew, "is it true about you and Kang Ji-woo? Or is that campus gossip being dramatic?" The normalcy shattered instantly. Naima's hands tightened around her chopsticks. It's complicated. Complicated like we're dating but keeping it secret, or complicated like I don't even know what we are?" "The second one." Naima's voice was barely above a whisper. "Definitely the second one." Keisha studied her for a moment, then nodded. "Okay, fair enough. And for the record, I don't care who you're involved with. Your business is your business. I'm just here to be friendly because you look like you could use a friend." The kindness in her voice, simple, uncomplicated, genuine, made Naima's eyes burn with unshed tears. "Thank you," she managed. I really could use a friend." "Then you've got one." Keisha raised her water bottle. "To new friends and epic slap videos." Naima couldn't help it. She laughed again, raising her own water to clink against Keisha's. For just a moment, surrounded by the cafeteria noise and Keisha's easy warmth, Naima felt lighter. She was smiling at something Keisha had just said about her terrible Korean professor when the cafeteria doors exploded open. The sound was so violent, so sudden, that every conversation stopped mid-sentence. Heads turned, bodies shifted. The entire massive cafeteria went silent in a wave that started at the doors and rippled outward like a stone thrown into still water. Naima looked up, and her heart stopped. Minji stood in the doorway, her face still showing the fading bruises from their fight. A yellowing mark on her cheekbone, a slight swelling around her left eye that makeup couldn't quite hide. But it wasn't Minji that had caused the silence. It was the man standing behind her, Kang Ji-woo. He wore a perfectly tailored black suit that probably cost more than most students' yearly tuition. His jet black wolf-cut hair was styled with casual perfection. His pale, angular face was expressionless, cold and beautiful and terrifying. And flanking him were two massive bodyguards in matching black suits and sunglasses, their presence radiating violence even in stillness. Phones came out immediately, hundreds of them, recording, photographing, documenting the moment Seoul's most dangerous man walked into their university cafeteria. Minji's voice rang out, shrill with vindictive triumph. "There! That's her! That's the girl who attacked me." Her finger pointed directly at Naima, like an accusation, like a curse. Every eye in the cafeteria swiveled to follow the direction of her finger. To Naima, sitting at her corner table, frozen like a deer in headlights. "Oh shit," Keisha breathed next to her. "Girl, is that—" But Naima couldn't answer, couldn't breathe, couldn't move, because Ji-woo was walking into the cafeteria now. His eyes were scanning the crowd with predatory precision, following Minji's pointing finger. The students parted before him like water and before a ship's bow. No one wanted to be in his path. Everyone wanted to see where this was going. His gaze swept across the tables, over the sea of terrified faces, past the phones recording every moment, and landed on Naima. Time seemed to stop. Ji-woo's eyes, those dark, deadly eyes that had seen her vulnerable, that had watched her break, that had rejected her, locked onto hers across the crowded cafeteria. She saw his expression change, saw him really see her, saw him notice the fading bruise on her cheekbone, purple-yellow now, days old but still visible. The healing split on her lower lip, a thin red line that hurt when she smiled or ate. The way she was sitting slightly hunched, like she was trying to make herself smaller, invisible. Something in his face shifted. The cold, bored expression cracked. His eyes widened almost imperceptibly. His jaw tightened. His hands, those elegant, dangerous hands, clenched into fists at his sides. And then his entire demeanor changed. The temperature in the cafeteria seemed to drop 20 degrees. Ji-woo turned slowly, deliberately, back to Minji. She was still standing there, triumphant, confident, waiting for him to deal with her attacker, waiting for him to punish Naima, waiting for him to choose her. Ji-woo took a step toward Minji. She smiled, relief and satisfaction flooding her face. But the smile died when she saw his expression. "Did you lay a finger on her?" His voice was quiet, too quiet. The kind of quiet that preceded violence. Minji blinked, confused. "What? She attacked me. I brought you here to— Did you lay a finger on her?" Each word was precise, controlled, deadly. The cafeteria was so silent you could hear people breathing. Minji's face went from confused to uncertain to frightened in the span of seconds. She hit me first. I was just defending myself. Ji-woo took another step toward her, and Minji actually backed up, her confidence crumbling. "You brought me here," Ji-woo said, his voice dropping to that dangerous whisper that somehow carried through the entire silent cafeteria, "to punish the person who fought you. You told me someone attacked you. You told me you needed me to handle it." He gestured back toward Naima without looking away from Minji. "You didn't tell me it was her." Minji's face went pale. I thought you'd want to." "Did you put those bruises on her face?" Minji's mouth opened and closed uselessly. "Answer me." She hit me too. Look at my face. I don't give a fuck about your face." The profanity was shocking coming from him in this setting, delivered with such cold precision. "I asked you a question. Did you touch her? Did you hit her? Did you put your hands on what's mine?" The last word echoed through the cafeteria like a gunshot. Mine. Naima's entire body went numb. Stop right there. Did Ji-woo did he just call Naima mine? After rejecting her? After sending her away naked and humiliated? After making her feel like she was nothing? He just claimed her. In front of everyone. In front of Minji, who thought he was hers. in front of hundreds of students, in front of cameras recording everything. He chose her over a strategic family alliance, over business mergers, over years of planning, over everything. And Minji, the girl who bullied Naima for weeks, the girl whose mother does money laundering with Uncle Solomon, the girl who thought Ji-woo belonged to her, she just found out she was wrong. So spectacularly, publicly, devastatingly wrong. But here's what's killing me. Why? Why did Ji-woo reject Naima that night? Why did he turn away from her naked body? Why did he send her away feeling like she was worthless? And now, suddenly, she's his. What changed? Was it seeing her bruised? Was it knowing someone hurt her? Was it Minji's assumption that she could claim him? Or has he been fighting this feeling all along, and the bruises on Naima's face finally broke whatever control he's been holding on to? Drop a comment right now. Comment for 1. What time is it where you are? Because we're all losing our minds together. Comment number 2. Why do you think Ji-woo called Naima mine after rejecting her? What's changed? Comment number 3. Team Ji-woo or Team Taehyung? But remember, Taehyung just confessed he loves her, so choose carefully. Comment number 4. What's going to happen when Ji-woo finds out Taehyung kissed Naima? When he finds out his most loyal man betrayed him? Comment number 5. Do you think Minji will really stay away? Or will she come back for revenge? Comment number 6. How is Uncle Solomon going to react when he finds out Ji-woo just publicly claimed Naima? If you're not subscribed, what are you doing? Hit that subscribe button right now. Turn on all notifications, because part 5 is going to be explosive. This story is about to get darker, more twisted, more devastating. The question isn't whether hearts will break. The question is, how many pieces will they be in when they do? Smash that like button if your heart is racing right now. Share this with every single person you know who loves dark mafia romance that destroys them. Comment your theories about what happens next. And I'll see you in part 5, where the devil finally admits he has a weakness. And her name is Naima Williams. But having a weakness in the mafia world, that's the most dangerous thing of all.